computer, because what I'm going to do today you may want to review, because I'm going to go through some stuff. So basically what we're going to do is I'm trying to get you to the point where you're going to be ready to build a web app of your own. Okay, so we're going to look at this, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some slides fairly quickly, and then I'm actually going to take and make a web app for you while you watch and while you interact with me. And so let's go, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so I think you guys are looking at this. So if I can just get to interjection to CGI and Ajax. So now it turns out that web applications are basically, we could call them client server applications, because the browser and anything running on the browser is a client, and the web server and anything else running on the server, like databases and other programs, are on the server side. And so generally we have this notion in client server world of a client submitting a request to the server handles that request and then sends a reply back to the client, and then the client does something with that typically displaying the result of that request, right? So when you log into your bank and you make a request, you make a login request, and then once you're logged in, you make a request to look at your bank accounts, and maybe you make a request to transfer funds, right? So you have the server side and you have the client side. Now, generally speaking, we have this continuum from where we put through the processing. Do we do more of the processing on the server side? Do we do more of the processing on the client side? Or is there some balance between the two? And there's lots of, we could spend, many classes talking about this, but generally speaking, any processing that's done on the server side is called, if you do most of the work or all the work on the server, that's called a server-side application. And the web page is largely just a view into what's going on the server side. And one of the advantages of this is that the browser doesn't have to do a lot of work, so you don't have as many browser incompatibility issues. On the client side applications, you push the work out to the web browser, and you have a programming going on out there, typically JavaScript, that's doing all the processing. Sometimes you might have Java applets, which are becoming less common, but that's another option. Now, the beauty of that is you're pushing all the work out to the user, and so your servers don't get as heavily loaded. But you're also losing some control of what's going on. Now, in a hybrid application, some of the work's done out on the browser, some of the work's done on the server, depending on where it makes sense to do it. And again, we could spend a lot more talking about this, but I'm just trying to give you a sense of this concept where work is being done by an application. It may be done in your browser. It may be a program running on your computer in the browser that's doing the work, or it may be programs running on the server that's doing that work. And then there's this interaction that's going on between the two. Now, CGI, or Common Gateway Interface, is a standard between external applications and web servers that allow external programs, in our case, web browser-based programs, to talk to the server. And generally what happens is that a call is made to the web server, some environment variables are set, a program is executed, and then the results of the output of that program are directed back to the web page. So we kind of see this picture. We have a request to the web server. The web server maybe sets some environment variables and sends an input on standard in. In other words, the program receives data the same way it receives data when you type on a keyboard, and then it outputs data the same way it outputs to the screen, only instead it outputs it to the web server, and then that goes back to the client. So it turns out that there's some environment variables that I've referenced, and one of the main ones is something called the request method. How are you doing the request? And there's actually two different types of request, a GET and a POST. A GET is when you actually have the parameters are actually part of the URL. You actually see them up in the browser in the little URL window. And then the other is where the program actually sends it as part of the input to the program. And in either case, the request is formed as what's called a query string, which is a list of variable names and their values. We're going to see an example of this in a minute. And then anytime you send messages back and forth, the third variable is a content length. How big is the message that goes back and forth? Now, in fact, if we look at actually this program here, we'll see all this stuff. So if I go into here, and we've seen this before, and I run my tools, which is you're going to need to do this. You're going to need to learn how to do this in this class without a doubt. Here's the console. We'll learn more about that. But with the network, when I search for, let me do a, okay, so well, first one never works, and I don't know why. But okay, so when I do this, notice that didn't work. Let's see if we can finally get this thing to work, actually. Okay, notice that, of course, data came back, and here's the data packet here. These are all just grabbing the pages. It grabs the HTML, it grabs the bootstrap, it grabs some CSS, but here's the actual packet that I sent, the request. And so here we see the request URL. Now notice I'm doing request method is get. That means that when we look at the request, we see name equals Kelly and type select equals female. That's all part of the URL that goes to the other side. And the response is here, the list of names and the data. And we're actually seeing this stuff in action. So again, with the get method, get is the method. We have the name of the directory where the program's at and the name of the program, question mark, a parameter, basically an attribute and a value, and an attribute and a value. And so this is how we make a request to a server. And now it turns out that the problem is you can't have spaces in here. Well, what if you want to send spaces? Well, there's this whole process called URL encoding, where it takes the message that you send and makes it acceptable for a URL. And so most non-alphabetic characters are recoded as percent and a number, where the number is the ASCII value of the character. So sometimes you see wacky looking things in there. Spaces are always converted to pluses. So for example, if you say data equals Kenyon College, it's going to have a plus there. Now, because a plus is used as a space, we have to encode a plus as something else. We also, since an equal is part of that, we have to encode an equals as something else. Okay. Now, another method is a post method. A post method actually creates a connection between your program and the web server, and it actually just transmits that information as a string. And we're generally speaking, well, we're actually going to be using both post and gets in here. We don't have to know that much more about them, but in our program, in the name lookup, we send a message, our laptop sends a message to Apache. Apache looks up the HTML code, passes it back to the I'm sorry, yeah, on your laptop, you make a request for a web page, and that is looked up on the web server, and that file is sent back to your laptop, and not just HTML. Of course, there's also the CSS and the JS. All of that gets loaded onto your laptop. When you click on the send button, it sends that request. Apache runs the program, and the result is sent back to your laptop. Now, that's just all the stuff I'm going to skip this for now. That's all the stuff in general. Let's see if we can do it. So what I want to do is kind of talk through it and do it. And that's why I went kind of fast, because I want to give us time to do this. Does anybody have any burning questions at this point? Or what questions do you have?
Professor?
Yeah.
It's not about this, but it's about the homework, about the due date.
Yeah.
On the website, there's the one that's due today and the one that's due Friday, but they're both the same thing, I think.
Yeah, Moodle is due Friday.
Right, this one is?
Yeah.
Like they're both
No,
the same
the
thing.
next one, the HTML, CSS.
Right, yeah. So what's the question?
Well,
We're getting different due dates.
You're saying Moodle doesn't agree with it?
Yeah, Moodle said it's Friday.
Is Moodle later or earlier?
Later.
Well, yeah, so generally speaking, believe Moodle. I mean, whichever one, right? So what was due? Team project. Okay, so which one are you asking about? This one?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, this one due Friday. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, sorry that it was here on here. I can move that later. I don't want to do that in class, but yeah, it's due on Friday. So that's a relief, I guess. Huh? All right. So what if we wanted to make our own program that prints pi to a given number of digits from a web page? Can I do that? And the answer is yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the server, and here I am logged into my thing, and I'm in my main directory, print working directory, and I'm going to make a directory pi. No, actually, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to git clone. Oh wait, I don't want to do it here because. So let's make directory pi. I'm going to go into pi. Okay, and I'm going to git clone, and I'm going to clone the. Actually, I'm not going to clone this one. What I'm going to clone is what? Oh yeah, this is the one I'm going to clone. So I'm going to clone the Python program. Okay, so here I have it. So now I'm going to change the name of that to move Python to pi lookup. Let's just call it that for fun, because I want to change the names of everything. And then I'm going to go into pi lookup. And what I want to do is I'm going to change the names of everything. Name them lookup.js to name lookup to pi. I'm going to change everything to pi. right? So I'll do that again, HTML. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm getting ready to write a new program based on the old one. So CSS, got to get rid of all the name lookups. So let's get rid of the pi. So I've changed the name of everything from name lookup, whoops, to pi, pi.py. Okay, so now let's quickly change the make file. Of course, you have your username in there. And of course, what I want to do, actually, no, I'm not going to do it that way. I want to actually do it the way you're going to do it. I was using Emacs, which is, so now I'm going to open up Atom. And enable my FTP, where's it at here? Well, that's weird.
You might need to switch screens to Atom.
Right, I'm gonna do that. You mean switch the, I'm gonna share Atom, yeah. Okay, so get rid of the Melt Welcome Guide and title, and I'm going to open up my FTP packet, my FTP remote edit, type in my ultra secret password. Here's my server, go in here, here's pi lookup, and let's go into my make file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say file, edit, wait, no, find, and I'm going to find name lookup, Nate lookup, out in the world, name lookup, and change that to pi everywhere. All right. Is there anything else I need to change here? Well, I don't want to go to p names. I'm going to make a new subdirectory called pi. So I think that does it, right? So what I did was I changed all my names. Let's save that. Now, let me go back to here. And let me go back to SCON. And, oh, I'm sorry. What I need to do is I need to make it, right? So I need to make the directory. What are we looking at right now? Yeah, here we go. Sorry, let's get rid of this. You're looking at this. So what I need to do is I need to make directory /var /www html class softdev scon pi. Now I should be able to do a make, and it all worked. So now let me go back over to here. We can get rid of this. And let me refresh this page, and sure enough, pi is there. And if I look in pi, it's going slow, but hopefully there it is. So that's, now what I've done is I've made a copy of the program, changed all the names to protect the innocent. And now what I want to do is morph this into a program that looks up pi. So let's go back to Atom. What do we do? What do you think we should do? Well, let's start by fixing up the HTML, right? So we can go in here and say compute pi, right? And we go down in here. We don't need this div that has the pull down anymore, right? Because we're not going to be looking, we just don't need that anymore. So let's get rid of that. Wait a second. I want to make sure I'm getting, I don't know what this /L is here. Oh, yeah, that's for something else. Okay, so I get rid of that div. Now let's change my input instead of search to be digits, because what I want to do is I want to make a program that I say, I want 10 digits of pi and it gives it to me. I want 100 digits of pi and it gives it to me. Now I'm going to show you how we'll compute that in a second. So instead of the placeholder, we'll put in digits, and the label will be compute. Okay. Now the button, instead of calling it search button, we'll call it pi button, right? And here we'll call it compute. So let's save this. Go back over here and refresh this. Go back, well, okay, so I've got to go back to my, 1 second. Did it save it? There we go. Go back to my web page, right? And let's refresh this and hope it works. Huh, oh, that's right. I have to go do a make because I was editing it where I should in my directory, so I'm not going to bring that up. I'm going to go do a make. And now we, well, not sure why. All right, so did I do a make? No, I didn't do a make.
Wait, it does say digits and compute in the top right.
Oh, it did work. Now, why didn't, oh, I didn't get rid of all of this. So let's go back to Atom and fix that. What do I need to get rid of? So, oh, I still have the drop down stuff. So, and I still have the drop down button. That's what I saw that I didn't get rid of. I wanted to also get rid of all this. That's, remember that other stuff was embedded inside of this. So I save this. I'm going to go to my web terminal and type make. Go here and refresh. It's looking better now. Now, the thing is here we have digits in compute. Of course, it's not going to work, but what we can do is, oh wait, I don't know what are you guys seeing now? You guys
Still
are seeing
Atom.
Atom. Okay, good. So the other thing I want to change, I need to change my CSS to be pi, because remember, I did that. Somewhere I have, oops, somewhere I have name statistics lookup. Where is that at? I'll change this to pi. Okay, change this to pi compute. Okay. Now then the other very important thing down at the bottom, I have to change this, the JS to be pi, because I have to associate my HTML with my correct CSS and my correct JavaScript. So we save it one more time. I'm going to do a make from the command line, and we'll look at it again. There we go, pi compute, digits compute. Now we can get rid of this search results later. Actually, let's fix that because I want this page to be relatively ready. So go back to Atom, and down at the bottom, where is search results? Okay, search results is here. Let's call this pi results and pi. Okay, so this is the ID. This is where we're going to put our results at. Okay, now, of course, how are we going to compute pi to arbitrary number of digits? Well, let me show you something. We go back here. Here's code. Here's Python code, and you can do the same thing in C++. I'm just showing you in Pi today, but you know, there's not a lot of differences. So, I mean, it's the same principle. So here's a simple code. Let's try this. Let me go over to my terminal. And in Pi lookup, I'm going to make a simple little program, Emacs test pi.py, and put this in here. Save it and run it. Python test pi.py. Sorry. Python 3. And there it is to 100 digits. Now notice, this is a cool program because I can say 10,000 and it actually shows pi to 10,000 digits. In fact, it'll show it to 1 million digits, it'll show it to 10 million digits. That's just a simple program, pi and the number of digits, right? And so I can call that program from Python. So let me go in and let's edit let's do this. Let's edit pi.js because pi.js is now going to have to correctly interact with the web page and call my new thing, so let's go back to Atom. If I can only find Atom. There we go. Let's go into pi.js. Now, a lot of this stuff, we don't have a search button anymore, but what did we call our search button? What did we change the name of that to? Well, let's go find out. We changed the name of that. Where's the ID here? Type. Wait, where is my button? Button class. No, that's the wrong button. Button here. We have a button that's called Pi button, right? So down here in the CSS, I'm going to search for the Pi button. We can get rid of this. We're not doing last name stuff anymore, and we don't have a search type anymore. I don't need this drop-down menu stuff anymore. This program is going to be a lot easier. I don't need, for right now, we don't need a table. We do need to get the matches. Now, what we want to look up is, instead of search, remember what we're doing is to go back to Pi, no, not Pi, to go back to HTML, what we want to do is we have a button and we have a place where the digits are stored, and those are stored input ID digits. So what I'm going to do is in my JS program, instead, I want to make sure digits has something in it. So if I'm going to say, if that's less than 1, if the length of that is less than 1, don't do anything. Now, I think I changed the name of this to Pi results. Let's go back and check. Right, remember down here, I have in my results, I have Pi results, ID equals Pi results. So in my JavaScript, I'm going to empty out my Pi results. Again, we're going to learn more about this, but I'm just kind of showing you how to do the difference. I want to get digits. This looks up the value, and we'll put this into a variable called digits. And then this is just a diagnostic console. It prints something, so we'll see if it's working. And so then we're going to change my parameter to digits equals digits. Because digits is where it's stored at, and then we get rid of the rest. We don't need a search type anymore. Now, we need to now change this to be scan underscore pi, because remember that's what we do. Oh, I don't know why did I do the params there? That seems like what I want to do here is digits. It seemed like there was some extra code in there. So digits equals digits, and get rid of the rest. So here our URL is we're going to call scan underscore pi, digits equals digits. And then we got to process results. Now process results should be really easy because all I'm going to do is take what comes back and append it into my pi results area. That should do it. So hopefully that works. Now, let me save that and let me save my JavaScript. Now, of course, what I need to do now is make my Pi program work. But before I get too fancy in the Pi program, we don't need sorted containers anymore. We don't need this. We can get rid of my class for the name stuff because we're not doing any of this name stuff. So let's get rid of all that. We, of course, always need to have a print header. We don't need to make our name stuff anymore. We got to have our form, and we need to be able to get our digits thing that we sent, right? And so then we'll have a variable in here called digits, and we're going to get value digits. We don't want upper, right? Because now it's a number. That's the only thing we get. Now, before we try to call pi in here, let's just print. Let's just print digits so that digits will come back. That should do it, right? So all this program does is it sees the value we sent in for digits and then sends that value back. And if this works, it'll be amazing. We'll see. So I went back to my terminal. And I do a make. And let's see what we see over here in our web page. So we go back to our web page. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the more tools because I'll be really surprised if this works the first time. And I'm going to type in a number 12 and say compute and see what happens. Didn't seem to work, okay? So something flashed up there really quick and then the page refreshed. So here's what, okay, so now we're not really sure what's going on, right? It didn't work. So here's what we need to do. First, let's try this. Let's do a Python 3 and run. And part of the reason I'm doing this, I'm just trying to give you an idea of this. Aha, there's a bug in here. So I tried to run my program and it didn't run. Okay, well, I didn't show you that. So I've got to remember to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my directory and just try to run. And we notice, it's got a bug in it. So it says on line 17, invalid syntax. So let's go back to Adam. And on line 17, do you see an error in there? I do. Anybody see my error?
You need an extra parentheses that you forgot.
Right, need an extra parentheses. So let's save that. Go back to here and try again. Now it says error in submission, of course, because it didn't get any parameters. So that's what we expect. So now let's do a make again. Go back to here, do a refresh, type in some digits, 12. Unfortunately, I'm not sure. Okay, so now what we need to do is figure out if, let's see if, let's go back over to the console, I'm sorry. Issues detected. So let's go in here, and the console, it shows the output, and it should print out 1212, and it did, but then it refreshed. Now, strangely, the page is immediately refreshing after we do the compute. So we are running the JavaScript. We know the JavaScript is running, but for some reason, the program is not running. So let me do this. Let's change directory to /usr. CGI bin, lib. And let's see, is there a scan? I see all of yours, a scan pi, and let's try to run it. Okay, so the program's over there. We don't know if it's actually being called. So my suspicion is we have a problem in our JavaScript, because we don't ever see, we just see the program being refreshed. It's kind of weird. New issues tab displays, go to issues. Okay, I don't know, that's something new I hadn't seen before. Okay, so it does have some issues here. Don't know. All right, I'm gonna go back to, I've got to find my thing. I'm gonna go back to, whoops, back to share, back to Adam. And let's go back and look at pi.js. Now we know it's getting here. Let's go ahead and do something funky for a second and just take pi results.append results and put this here, digits. And let's take and comment out all of this code. This is all the code that, this is all the code that, this is the Ajax call. So let's just see if the JavaScript program is running itself. So what this is going to do is grab the digits off the web page and then append it back into the results, and let's see what happens. So save, go over to the here, do a make, and then go over to here and refresh. Actually, sometimes I do a hard reload just to make sure I get all the latest stuff. Oops, type in a number. Now notice we got an error there. Wait, oh, did we? For some reason, we're getting the digits there, but then it's not pushing them onto the screen. But what's weird is the page is reloading and we're not getting
When you did the make, it had an error because you were still in the CGI bin. I don't know if that.
oh, you're right. Thank you. I'm trusting you guys to help me out. So change directory to now let's, okay, I just went over to the right place. I realized I didn't show you guys, but I did. I just went over and redid the make and I didn't get an error, I don't think, no. So now let's try it. Oops. Put some numbers in. That's weird. Okay, so we do see that and then it immediately refreshes the page. So I think we need to go look. When something like this happens, what we need to do is go look at our JavaScript, because whatever's happening wrong must be happening in our JavaScript because we're not even calling that program. So,
Professor,
yeah.
I don't know if it will help, but the similar problem happened to me with the name lookup.
Yes.
And I kind of solved it by changing the last name to female name.
Well, I don't even have
on the yeah. So I don't. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't know if it will help.
Yeah. Let's do something here. Let's get rid of this and try to put hello into there when I load the page, okay? So basically when something doesn't work, you've got to kind of get back to a baseline where something is working and then you work forward. So let's
that
yeah.
hello have an extra quotation mark?
It does. Thank you. So I'm going to go over and make it. And now I'm going to go to the web page. And it should say hello. Oh, wait a second, though. This shouldn't say search results because we changed it to be something other than search results. Now, right? Remember, I changed it to pi. And so I think our pi.html.
Professor, is it possible that you forgot to save the changes to
Right, that's what I'm wondering. I think maybe I didn't save that. So let me, oh, that would be nice. That would give us a chance of solving this. Okay, so now, yes, okay. Oops. So now we type this in, and yeah, sure enough, it was there. Now still something funny is going on because the page immediately, so it's for some reason it's refreshing the page every time after I hit the button. And so this is almost certainly so I'm putting, see it puts out those numbers. Not sure why it's, so I append the results. Now my suspicion is that the other part works okay. So in other words, I think I can probably get rid of this at least And let's get rid of this line. And I think that we will see the number appear down there. So if I type in some numbers here, it should appear here. Huh. It appeared over here, but I didn't see it appear there. And I don't know why it's reload. See, the problem is it's reloading the page every time. Let me try something here. I'm going to do something just for fun. New share. Oops. Why is it reloading the page every time? Well, this is frustrating because I wanted to show you this program working. We're very close, but for some reason, the page is reloading every time, and this is, I'm going to discover what this error is, mainly because then I can tell you guys. And so for some reason, whenever I push the button, it reloads the page. Now, so of course the good question is what will I do? How will I discover this error? And I'm almost believing that I'm wondering if there's something, it's a type equals submit. Let me try to change this to a type equals button. Submit refreshes pages. I'm wondering why I even set that to that. You can always hope that that'll fix it. Let me try now. Oh, wait, doesn't like it. You get an error in our console. No. Oh, no, okay, let me see here. So, okay. Now it's working. I took away that, I may change the button from submit. That's, I think, something I need to do in general, so I might change those projects. So now it's working. So I've got 2 minutes left. Can I finish this? Ooh, let's see. So now we've got the JavaScript running. We just have to finish this. And so what I'm going to do is get my Pi code. Where did I put that Pi code at? That test Pi code. I don't remember where I put that. I'm going to go grab the code from the slide real quickly. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Adam now. Where did the world did Adam go? So what I need to do instead is I want to import OS. And then down here, I want to take and make a command. So I want to get digits and then convert it into an integer. Actually, I don't think I need to convert it into an integer. What I want to do is Pi plus digits, do the output, stream.read output, and then print. And now maybe the program will work. Let's find out. I'm going to make it. And Okay. Now let's go back to Compute Pi and see what happens. No, something weird's going on. Okay, there we go. So let's type in 100. There it is. Type in 10,000. Now, of course, I need to change it so it wraps, and that's a whole nother issue. But it's 11 o'clock, and we actually did get this going. Okay, and so that shows you how you can take a program. I'm going to take and change in those projects that button to submit to button, and that this error won't reoccur. Okay.
Oh, actually, one quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the end pertaining to Moodle homeworks. I just noticed that the thing that was written in for Friday, which is like JavaScript homework.
Oh, well, no, that's, I am sorry. Which one is that?
So on Moodle, it's
JavaScript
and
okay.
jQuery.
I'm sorry. That Moodle. So what happened was, and I just missed this. So Moodle automatically gives things funky dates, and that.
Okay, but the thing due
that.
for Friday is HTTP and CSS.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Wait, no, I'm looking at the JavaScript and jQuery, and that says October 2nd. So, what was your question again? So it does look like it was right.
Well,
oh wait, no, Friday is then.
Yeah, Friday is the 2nd. Yeah, we're already almost in October.
Oh, so both of those need to be shifted. Okay, I see. I'll fix that right now. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. See ya.